The air was heavy with the smell of burning jet fuel and smoke. Emergency vehicles, sirens screaming, were a blur of red and blue against the darkening sky. Pieces of metal, all that was left of a modern airplane, were scattered across the runway, a terrible reminder of how quickly things can go wrong. The scene at Muan International Airport was pure devastation. On this day, December 29, 2024, a regular flight from Bangkok to Muan had become a horrible tragedy. Jeju Air Flight 7C-1806, a Boeing 737-800 carrying 181 people, 177 passengers and 4 crew members, had crashed while trying to land, turning a moment of excitement into a nightmare. As rescue workers fought to put out the fire and find anyone who might still be alive, a terrible truth started to sink in. The crash was awful, the wreckage a scary sign of how delicate life is. Hope, though small, remained. Maybe somewhere in the debris, a miracle or two was waiting to be found. Jeju Air Flight 7C-1806 had taken off from Bangkok's Suvarnabhumi Airport at 10:30 in the morning, their time. The flight, full of tourists, families going home and business people, was normal for most of the trip. Passengers relaxed into their routines, soothed by the familiar rhythm of flying. At 4:15 in the afternoon Korean time, the pilots contacted Muan International Airport's control tower, starting their descent and getting ready to land. Everyone on board was still feeling good, excited to get where they were going. A few minutes later, at about 4:22 p.m., the plane veered off course. The voices coming from the cockpit became more and more panicked, with distress calls that sent chills down the spines of even the most experienced air traffic controllers. Then, silence. The impact, when it came, was deafening. At 4:25 p.m., Jeju Air Flight 7C-1806 slammed into the runway, the force of the crash ripping the plane apart and starting a huge fire. The peaceful winter afternoon was shattered, replaced by the horrifying sounds of disaster. As the fire died down and the smoke began to clear, a sad and important job began. Investigators with serious looks on their faces arrived at the crash site, their every move watched by a world desperate for answers. What went wrong? Why had Jeju Air Flight 7C-1806, a seemingly normal flight, ended in such a terrible way? Early guesses focused on a possible bird strike or a major mechanical problem. People who saw the crash said they saw a flock of birds close to the runway just before it happened, while others thought they heard an explosion coming from the plane. But authorities asked everyone to be patient, stressing the need for a thorough and unbiased investigation. The black boxes, the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder, were found in the wreckage, offering a small bit of hope in the search for the truth. These devices, often called silent witnesses, held the answers everyone wanted to know inside their damaged shells. While investigators worked hard to figure out what led to the crash, a wave of sadness swept over South Korea and the world. Families, their lives changed forever, struggled with the unbearable pain of losing loved ones. The terminal at Muan International Airport became a place of painful reunions and heartbreaking goodbyes. A husband waited for his wife coming home from a business trip, only to learn the devastating news that her flight would never arrive. Parents held on to fading hopes, their faces etched with a pain that no parent should ever have to feel. Children, too young to understand that death is final, asked innocent questions that broke the hearts of everyone around them. The stories of the victims, slowly coming out from the wreckage of shattered lives, painted a sad picture of the human cost of this tragedy. There was the young couple, returning from their honeymoon, their dreams of a future together gone in a flash. The elderly woman, traveling to see her grandchildren, her heart full of love and excitement. The businessman, hurrying home to his family, his briefcase full of promises he would never keep. South Korea remembers. As news of the crash spread, a feeling of deep sadness fell over South Korea. Flags were lowered to half-mast, a visible sign of a nation united in mourning. Candlelight vigils, their flickering flames reflecting the tears of a heartbroken country, popped up everywhere. Strangers hugged, offering words of comfort and support in the face of unimaginable loss. The South Korean government declared a period of national mourning, a time for remembering and reflecting. President Yoon Suk-yeol, his voice filled with emotion, spoke to the nation, offering condolences to the families of the victims and promising a thorough investigation into what caused the crash. Religious leaders from all faiths prayed for those who died and offered comfort to those who were grieving. Temples, churches, and mosques became safe places for those seeking refuge from the overwhelming sadness. The nation, united in grief, found strength in sharing their sorrow. Preventing future tragedies. Calls for enhanced safety. After the Jeju Air 737-800 crash, demands for stronger aviation safety measures grew louder. Experts stressed the need for stricter rules, rigorous maintenance procedures, and better pilot training programs. The aviation industry, once again forced to face the fact that flying can be dangerous, pledged to learn from the tragedy and put measures in place to stop future accidents. Governments all over the world promised to review their own aviation safety protocols, realizing that the lessons learned from this disaster went beyond national borders. The International Civil Aviation Organization, or ICAO, announced a special meeting to talk about global aviation safety standards and look for ways to improve international cooperation in the field. The Jeju Air 737-800 crash served as a harsh reminder of the constant risks of air travel. It showed how important it is to always strive for safety, to constantly improve, and to remember that even in the age of modern aviation, tragedies can happen. The unanswered questions, lingering doubts and fears. Even though investigators worked hard and the black boxes were recovered, some questions about the Jeju Air 737-800 crash remained unanswered. The exact chain of events leading up to the crash, the precise cause of the disaster, and the possible contributing factors continued to be examined and debated. Conspiracy theories, fueled by speculation and wrong information, started to spread, adding to the pain of the victims' families and making the public doubt what they were being told. Rumors of a cover-up, sabotage, and even pilot error spread quickly, fueled by social media and sensationalist headlines. While authorities worked tirelessly to dismiss these rumors and present the facts as they learned them, the remaining uncertainty cast a dark cloud over the investigation. The search for truth, often a long and difficult process, was made even harder by the emotional weight of the tragedy and the immense pressure to provide answers. A legacy of loss. Remembering Jeju Air 737-800. The Jeju Air 737-800 crash will always be remembered in aviation history, a sad reminder of how fragile life is and how unpredictable fate can be. The 179 lives lost show the human cost of aviation accidents, their stories a touching reminder of how tragedy affects everyone. In the years to come, the memory of Jeju Air Flight 7C-1806 will continue to push for change. It will drive the pursuit of safer skies, inspire new ideas in aviation technology, and shape the way we think about risk and responsibility in air travel. The families of the victims, forever connected by this shared tragedy, will find comfort in the memories of their loved ones. Their resilience, their unwavering pursuit of justice, and their unwavering love will inspire us all. As we remember those lost on that terrible day, let us honor their memory by working towards a world where such tragedies are prevented, where the skies are truly friendly, and where the journey home is always safe.